Have you told your friends that you see ghosts?
Oh, absolutely not.
Gina Rodriguez returns in Not Dead Yet.
I'm back, baby.
Who is that?
Oh, she's the obituary writer.
And Brad Garrett joins the brilliant ensemble cast.
Titan, Maverick, Titan of all Mavericks. These are all words used to describe me.
Not Dead Yet. Season premiere. Tonight, 8:30, 7:30 Central on ABC. And stream on Hulu.
It's the Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
If you've been listening to the Happy Families podcast for any length of time at all, you will know that maybe we overshare a bit. We share our lives quite a lot. Would you say that's fair?
Well, people meet us in the street and
They do. And we don't know them.
they think we know them because they know all about us.
Somebody walked up to us just the other day and said, I so badly want to tell you so many things about my life, but I've realized you don't know me. But I feel like I know so much about you because I listen to the podcast and I want to ask you so many questions. And it's really delightful. I mean, it's really wonderful to be able to share so many warm experiences with people.
I was standing next to somebody the other day and we kind of got talking. I had no idea who she was. And halfway through, she clicked that I was Kylie Coulson. And she looked at me and she said, I've been listening to your voice the whole time thinking, why do you sound so familiar?
Right.
We've never met.
Isn't that funny? I love that. I usually just get people saying, I thought you'd be taller.
Oh,
I get that all the time.
thing.
Anyway, we are going to share something from our lives that we think is worth sharing, and we're kind of excited to tell you about it. It starts Saturday just over a week ago. We received a call. It's 8:30 at night. Your phone starts ringing, but it's not a regular phone call. This is an 8:30 p.m. FaceTime call.
It was our son-in-law. I had been
Which is even weirder, right? Because
waiting for this call.
our son-in-law never uses FaceTime to call us.
He never uses FaceTime. And I started crying before I even picked the phone up.
And as soon as you started crying, I jumped on the bed and hugged you and started crying as well.
And we pushed connect. And there was our brand new granddaughter.
We're grandparents, folks. This is the official announcement. We're allowed to tell everybody we have become grandpa. Well, actually, we're not grandpa and grandma. Thanks to Karen Young from Hey Sigmund, who gave us the idea, we are
Lolly and Pops. So we're lollipops.
Well, you're Lolly and I'm Pops. Let's not confuse that. So we just wanted to share that with you. We thought it was wonderfully exciting news. And for everyone who is, getting their day ready and heading back to school today, if you've got children in Queensland or if you're in Victoria, school holidays are over and it's back into the grind, back into the routine. We thought this might be a nice bit of news to lift your spirits. I want to share something else about what happened that night. So we FaceTimed and just, it was so beautiful to have the call. But then we said, can we come and visit? Please. And they checked with the midwives and the midwives said, visiting hours are well and truly over. And we said, but we had some stuff to do the next day and we were out of town. We couldn't see the baby. And they explained it to the midwives and they said, maybe. Why don't you come in and we'll see if we can sneak you in? So we went into stealth mode. We jumped in the car. We drove to the hospital, parked, and then we went all Tom Cruise.
Do you know how hard it is to navigate a hospital after hours? You can't get in all of the different doors. We had no idea where we're going. We've never been to this hospital before. It was all a bit tricky.
Anyway, we got in there and we got to hold our brand new baby grand girl. We should mention her name. Is it okay to tell her name? Are we allowed to do that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Indiana Sky. So she's going to be Indy.
Indiana Sky. Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah, I asked them where the name came from, and Chanel really liked Indy, but they didn't want that to be her whole name. And so they talked about Indigo, didn't like Indigo. And then they ended up with Indiana, and they both fell in love with it. But Jared has been sitting outside on the deck every day watching the beautiful coastal views of the beach and the sky, and Sky just kind of seemed like a really peaceful option to add to Indy. So Indiana Sky. Indiana
Sky is the newest member of the family. But I just thought, isn't birth extraordinary? Isn't birth such a powerful experience, transcendent. No words. You had a bit of a challenge around this because initially you were invited along. Our daughter said, "Mum, I'd like you to be present in the birth. I'd like you to be like a second support person. I want my husband, I want Jared to be there, number one, but I think I'd like you to be there." And then she changed her mind.
So when she asked me way back, she was only about 3 or 4 months pregnant, and she said, "Mum, I want you to be in there." I said, "That's beautiful. I'm really excited to be there and I would love to be there. But I need you to understand that as you grow and as your baby grows, things might change. You might have a different mindset around this." And I said, "And when that time comes, I just need you to know that you can come and tell me that you don't want me anymore."
And so she did.
And so she did. And it was a really hard conversation for me because up until she talked to me about going in, I would never have imagined or dreamed that I would be going in. But then there was this lifeline of, yes, you can go in. And I was so excited to be there for her and to have the experience, and so nervous and anxious about watching her go through that process. There was just so many different emotions. But when I finally was kind of told that I wasn't needed anymore, that was really hard. It was really hard to sit in that place of trying to work out what my role was then. Because up until that point, I kind of had a clear view of what I needed to do. My role was to support both of them and let Jared do the work, but to just be there, to hold their hand, I guess. And to be told that they didn't need my hand anymore was really hard. It was hard to take.
So all day long, we knew that she was in labour, we knew that the contractions were kicking on, we knew that the baby was coming, and that was really, really, really hard for you. But I said to you something that I think really matters here, and that was we had the experiences that we had together. And those experiences, as I supported you through 6 baby births, those experiences bound us together in ways that had someone else been present, we wouldn't have had the shared experience that made what we share in our relationship so special. And they needed to have this experience. And
I agreed with you wholeheartedly.
Doesn't make it any easier though, does it?
But it was so hard. I've spent 9 months with her ringing me every time there's a tiny little change or there's a little rash.
I have to quote you here. I have to quote you because as you were explaining this to your sister, you said, "She calls me to tell me about the colour of her poop." And now I'm not allowed in the labour room.
No, it wasn't that I'm not allowed in. There was zero communication.
They're not even telling
They'd
you.
gone offline.
You wanted to know, there's another contraction. There's another contraction. There's
How
another.
far apart are they? Like, what's happening? It was so tricky.
Now, this brings up a really important conversation point, though, and that is being grandparents. Boundaries. What kind of grandparents are we going to be? How are we going to navigate this? I think this is relevant for everybody who's listening because everyone's generally dealing with grandparents that are either too intrusive or not there enough or whatever. In fact, I just remembered a story. Somebody very close to us was talking to me about what kind of grandparents we're going to be. And he told me that this has happened in his family. So we've got our friend, we'll call him Ben, and he has a sister, we'll call her Kate. Okay, so Ben and Kate, brother and sister, growing up together, they both get married, they both start their families. Kate, when she has her first baby, mum is there and she says, "I'm here. Whatever support you need, I'll give it to you. If you want to go back to work, I'll look after the kids full time. I'm here. I can't wait to be an involved grandma." And Kate says, "Amazing, fantastic. I'm so excited. Thank you." But then when Ben has his first baby, mum says, "Well, I'm going to just stay out because a mum's duty is to her daughter. And so, Ben, your wife has a mum and it's up to her how she supports you and your family." And I heard that and I was like, well, that sounds... I mean, I can actually get the logic, but I don't think I like the logic at all. And I asked him what the long-term impact of that is. So he's got kids who are now adults. And he just said they don't have a relationship with my mum. They don't have a relationship with their paternal grandmother because she was always there for the cousins, but she was never there for them. When he said that, I thought, that to me is a cautionary tale.
I can see the challenge that you have with in-law relationships, and being the in-law to the daughter. Being an in-law makes it tricky because you don't want to step on her mum's toes. I can see that, but the mentality that it's her mum's job and that you won't have anything to do, you can see the outcome. It was really damaging to the relationships that she could have had with her grandchildren. I don't think that's going to be us somehow.
I don't think so either, but we are going to be hands-on. I'm telling you.
Well, we've got all girls.
We've got 6 daughters.
So
as
we're
well.
responsible for them all.
I can't wait to take this little girl down to the beach and teach her to surf and to ride bikes to school, or I just take them on holidays. I'm so excited. I mean, I know we're still raising our own. We've still got 3 who are very much dependent on us. Our youngest 3 are, 9 and 13 and 16. I'm teaching daughter number 4 to drive right now, but hands-on, which I guess brings up another question, and that is visiting rights. How do you know when you're visiting too much? Like, we have really juggled and struggled with this over the last week or so since the baby came into our world, because we kind of want to live at our grandchild's house now, don't we?
It's the grandchild's house, is it?
Yeah, that's right. It's not our daughter and son-in-law's place. It's our grandchild's place. I just want to live there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I've emptied my calendar. I've made myself completely and utterly available.
Yeah.
But from the time our daughter could speak, we knew that we had this fiercely independent kid, and she just is. She has just taken the role of motherhood with both hands, and it was so beautiful. She sent me a message the first night they were home from the hospital, and baby and her were skin to skin in bed, and she said, "This is what heaven must be like."
How
honestly,
good is that?
Now I know why you just kept going back and doing it again and again and again. This is perfection.
Does that mean we get to have another grandbaby? I can't believe she's saying that already. So good.
Well, it all went downhill from there because baby didn't sleep all night.
That's right. She's like, this is harder than I thought.
But I've watched these kids, and I think part of that process of her wanting me in the labour room to start with was she didn't know if her husband had the capacity to be all she needed him to be. And as the pregnancy continued, she watched and she saw this guy who she's chosen to spend her entire life with just magnify and grow.
He stepped up.
And so
I'm going to take some credit for this. I took him out for breakfast. I said, "Hey, ask me anything. Ask me anything." And he didn't know what to ask me. And I said, "Okay, why don't you ask me what I wish that I knew when I first became a dad that I didn't know?" And he said, "Oh, that's a good question. What do you wish you knew?" I was like, "Oh, let me tell you." And he has stepped up. I'm in jest. I'm taking credit. He has stepped up, and what a wonderful thing to see.
And what that did for their relationship, I just loved, as hard as it was to sit on the outside, when we walked in that room and met our granddaughter for the very first time, it was like these 2 kids, because they're still so young, but these 2 kids had just grown 4 inches taller. Like they were just completely and utterly united in a way they haven't experienced before. And it was so beautiful to watch.
But this is everyone's story. If we're doing it right, this is everyone's story, right? Anyone who's listening to this, they've been through it. They've got their kids and they've had that moment where they were in the delivery room, they're in the labour room, the birthing suite, and hopefully dad or the second parent has been absolutely there, stepping up and just being that support person. And mum, as she's delivered this baby, has done the impossible. I mean, I just don't know how mums do it. It brings back so much for me. Such a great experience to reflect on and talk about it.
When I was talking to Jared's mum, she said, I'm absolutely blown away at how Jared did what he did. She said, because for his entire life, he sees a little bit of blood and he goes weak at the knees.
Yeah, right.
So she's like, I don't actually know how he got through this. But, from all of the retelling, there's just an acknowledgement that he was Chanel's rock the whole way through.
That's what it's about.
I just love it.
I love it as well. Hey, thank you so much for listening today. We are so grateful to be able to share this part of our lives with you. We can't wait to talk to you about all of our grandparent stories, but we will continue with the regular parenting stuff because, my goodness, we are still doing that. Oh, hey, this Friday, and I'll do better tomorrow, we've got some more earth-shattering news to tell you. Like, I think it's going to it's rocking our worlds. It is absolutely blowing us away. We can't wait.
I don't know how much it's rocking your world, but it's definitely rocking mine.
I'm just putting a big tease in. That's all. I'm just saying, big tease for Friday for I'll Do Better Tomorrow. If there's one other episode that you listen to this week, it's got to be that one. Oh, we've got so much fun tomorrow. We're talking tomorrow about building hope in kids. On Thursday, book club We haven't done that for a couple of months. We've got so many books to tell you about. It's all happening. Thank you so much again for listening to the Happy Families podcast, produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. If you'd like more info about how to make your family happier, join us at happyfamilies.com.au.